We talking about whatever that's on your mind. Speak your mind, don't be shy. This is your time to shine.
First, let me say, I made it on to the Breakfast Club
Okay.
as Rebel Jesus.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Two times.
Okay.
They didn't like them both times.
Do you know who was there with them? Because he ain't there. Do you know who was there that day?
One day, oh crap, man, I forget. The first time it was just them, them two. The second time it was some cat who just got a podcast that just released. I want to say a couple weeks ago. He a fun boy, but I can't remember his name. I want to say Jesse or Jay.
I know the nigga name, the light skinned nigga.
He sound light skinned, but I don't know.
No, I think I know who that is. He used to be on Wild 'N Out too.
Yes. He even made a Wild 'N Out joke stating that, man, you would never survive on Wild Style.
yeah, that's him. I forgot the nigga name.
Yes, that's who it is. That's who it is. Which is everything is all cool, man, because one of the second one. Oh, first let me say, the first time they said they called me, Charlamagne called me Busy Bone, which to his lack of knowledge
to you.
Exactly, I'm about to say which to his lack of knowledge,
right.
It's a compliment to me on a couple of levels because hey, I'm a Bone member. That's awesome.
Right.
Bone, my favorite group of all time.
Right.
Second, that's what I got called growing up throughout high school.
Right.
So
Busy.
cool.
Yeah. Right.
And they said that because not only is my style of poetry is hip hopish or rapish, but I did one of the ones that is more of a rap, could be a rap, more of that style.
Okay.
Which again, cool. I kind of expected what I got because for one, the audience is not for poetry, at least not poetry on that level, and what I want to talk about, the statement that they made is just the conversation thing I want to talk about is that he said like, dude, you're Charlamagne. He said you're rapping, not doing poetry, and that's when I stated like they're one and the same. And then what's his name? Envy stated like he's like they one and the same. Yeah, they can be. But then he said that Charlamagne said, and this is what I want to talk about more so. Charlamagne said, nah, poetry, they deliver it different. The way they deliver it, that's what makes it poetry. And I'm like,
you can deliver poetry any way you want to, just like you can deliver rap anyhow you want to, or you can sing an R&B song anyhow you want to.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. But I got one more thing to talk about on the second one. The second time I made it on, when we conversate on it, it'll become even more juicy to me. The second time I made it on, they didn't dig it again. Cool.
It was a different one?
Yeah, it was a different poem. And they said to say this time they asked me like, hey man, what you do for a living, man? You know, stick to that and all that stuff. It was stick to that. It was like, and then he had said, yo, you would never be a Malcolm Jamal Warner. That's who we having as a guest on. He do poetry too. Charlamagne said that.
Right. Okay, so you called on that day. Okay.
Oh yeah.
On that day.
Yeah. I called on that particular day. I ain't trying to be Malcolm, nor do I want to be Theodore.
Right. Tech is what they called him in the first episode.
the pilot.
The pilot. Mm-hmm.
But I listened to them only doing podcast style later on. But during the morning on commercials, I listened to them.
Mm-hmm.
But so I went back and later on and listened to the show, and they called Eddie out. I mean, Malcolm out. I said Eddie.
Uh,
They called Malcolm out. I'm over here thinking of Malcolm and Eddie. That's where it came from.
right, right.
But they called Malcolm out at the end of their interview with him, asked him like to do some poetry. And then, he did some poetry. I listened to this nigga poetry.
And it was whack.
No, it was not whack. And that's not why I'm about to say this nigga here. Because this nigga here is going to Charlemagne. But what I want to say about Malcolm Jamal Warner's poem, not saying it was a bad poem. It was a dope poem. It was dope. I like what he said. What I don't like, and what I've noticed since I've been doing poetry, is that I think I should have called this particular episode called Acting Out Life. That other theory that we talk about on an often basis, because what we're going to talk about falls up under what Charlemagne the God, Dr. Charlemagne the God said. When he said they deliver it a specific way, that's what makes it poetry. That portion of acting out life is what I noticed since I've been doing poetry about 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, is that it is what Charlemagne said. It is, but only because
it is what?
It is what he said. What he said. They deliver it in a certain way. That what makes it poetry. In society, he's absolutely right. It is because of what I'm about to say. Again, I've been doing into poetry for about 2 years, me doing my own. I read a very little of poetry since I've been doing it because I don't take interest into poetry like that. I just started doing something and I realized that it falls under a category. Right. Yeah, and it entertains me to do it. So I'm not doing it seriously, and I'm not into poetry that serious to where I gotta read up on other people's poetry because I'm not interested in it. Like
Right.
But I have read a nice amount of poetry and listened to a nice amount of poetry. And going off what Charlemagne said, the way you delivered it, you're not a poet. And I don't even categorize myself to be a poet either. I don't even categorize. I'm not a poet. I'm just a person who like to wordplay, use wordplay, and who could put it together cleverly. But again, due to society and due to us as a civilization, we self-segregate ourselves. We self-segregate ourselves, meaning that we seek out segregation. We seek out to be with our kind, or what we consider our kind, without them doing it for us. That's just what I've noticed. You'll notice an African who come over here, or Asian who come over here. For some reason, they seem to be in the dang on area with Asians and Africans be. It's like, y'all ain't know nobody over here, but somehow you got segregated into being over here with the rest of your kind.
Right.
But again, there's theories and thoughts we're talking about here. But again, going off what Charlemagne said, you saying it wrong. I'm saying my poems wrong, which makes me not a poet, or makes my poems a poem. They're rap. And listening to Malcolm Jamal Warner's poetry sounds exactly like virtually all the poetry I've heard. They all sound like the whole, Raphael
mellow
Ghetto.
Mellow and all that.
To the left of you, cannons to the right of you.
Right.
They all sound like similar of that. There's either that, love, or sad. And they're all said in some various form of something like that. Like, in going off the ones I've read, I'm like, do y'all niggas know no joy?
Right. Do damn poetry have to be sad and shit?
Yeah. I read I could count on one hand. I could count on a couple of fingers how many poems that actually made me laugh And it was written to be somewhat of that. Not me taking it in a comical way. It was written to be in somewhat of a comical way.
Right.
It's like poetry has to be this sad, people think poetic, philosophical thing, like everything else in life. It's like, just give me a straight answer, man.
Right. Yep, I feel you.
Give me something else other than cannons to the left, and I'm so sad that the cannon to the right has whatever.
Right.
And Malcolm Jamal Warner poem said, heard out loud. It was just like that. So what I want to say about the whole experience of the Breakfast Club, which again, I don't care about it. Like,
right.
I'm not going to stick with my regular 9 to 5 because it's not what I want to do. And I'm not doing it for you, Breakfast Club / Envy and Charlamagne. I'm doing it for myself because it entertains myself. I just stated, like, I don't even care about poetry like that. I just find it entertaining. And and I found out that the way that I do my wordplay, I wouldn't be accepted, like Charlamagne said, in the hip hop world on that level. I would be considered a poet, even though I don't consider myself a poet.
Right. Or not even consider yourself a poet, just somebody who's doing poetry, or, you know.
Exactly. That's what I am. And you know what's so hilarious about that, Cal? I put that, not in my latest, but the one previous to my latest. I put that at the very end of my poem.
Yeah, just because I go out and, or just me and my woman, we make love. That don't mean we are fucking porn stars. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We having sex. We not sex stars. Like, we just having sex. You know what I'm saying?
We just having sex. We just boinking around. We just boinking around.
That don't mean I gotta be labeled as a porn star or labeled as a poet because I be saying a little poetry.
And Charlamagne is a cat that I feel acts out life. And it could be for the Breakfast Club. I don't know the guy outside of the Breakfast Club. It could be just putting on show for the Breakfast Club. But them niggas is highly immature as heck. And I don't think they know how immature they are.
No, they know. They know. They don't. I don't think they know, bro. I think they know that the way they act on the show is fucking foolery, bro. I think they know that. And I think somebody up in the upper echelon of powers that be got them doing that.
But you know what? I'm inclined to believe that, what you just said. But today, listening to the shows, I feel like these niggas take this that's what she said type things, or pause type things, really outside the show. Like, these niggas is really doing that outside of the Breakfast Club. I gotta feel it. Especially Charlamagne. I gotta feel it. It just seems like this nigga be hold on. Well, I had to stick it in, and then when that happened, I got shot. Hold on, pause, stick it in. Because I'm like, dude, like,
yeah.
I mean, again, I'm inclined to believe what you said, Cal, but also at the same time, I'm like, it's so much of that done fluently, it seems like.
Oh, it's fluid now.
That these niggas can't help the fact but pause outside in the real world.
Right. True.
But at the end of one of my poems, I say, just jiving. I just did doing poetry.
Oh, you just dig doing right?
Yeah, I just dig doing poetry.
Right.
That's at the end. That's at the end of one of my poems, which is my character, as you would say. My stage name is Rebel Jesus, and I'm themed in religion on my poetry. I don't really do anything outside of that. I do have things, but I'm themed in religion. Mm-hmm. I still let it be known that, hey, I'm just a guy that did doing poetry.
Right.
So right. I don't even consider myself a poet. I just like putting together words cleverly.
Right. There you go.
Using this retarded English language we got.
right.
I thought about this